Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Coming to you from a snowy, icy Arnold, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis. All right. How about that show last night in Tulsa, Oklahoma? The Tulsa Shootout. So for a lot of you NASCAR people that don't really understand the situation, the Tulsa Shootout was made up of almost 1,800 cars in about 5 or 6 different divisions. Now, they're going to take a week off, and then next week they come in with the open wheel midgets. That's the name for them. That's what they call them. And there'll be over 300. And this is the granddaddy of these type of race cars. This is the Daytona 500. And this is what Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson grew up doing. All right, now that I've given you all that information, and it's on dirt, by the way. You know I like that dirt racing. I like that dirt racing because it's groovy. It's groovy. You just don't got to run right here. You know, in asphalt, sometimes you got to run here, and it's like, oh, my car don't handle here, and it won't go anywhere else. In dirt racing, you can just go everywhere and get your car going. So last night, the big story was Kyle Larson versus Christopher Bell. And boy, they did not disappoint. First thing I want to address is it was the non-wing class, okay? No wing. And that's the one everybody wanted to watch, the one with no wing on it. And 55 laps, and if you won that baby, that meant you were the baddest son of a bitch there. Okay? So if you win this 55 lapper, it's unbelievable. And Kyle Larson flew from Australia all the way over here to America because he wanted to run this big race. It paid $2,500 to win. You get it now? Hey, Herman, you run that old dirt car and you don't make that didn't even pay for the hotel room. A little bit of a smart ass kicking in here right now. Y'all getting it? Kyle Larson flew from 15, 18 hours away, and he won $100,000 over there. He won $100,000 over there at Perth, over there in Australia. Perth Motorsportsplex, but he flew all the way over here. Now, he won 2 out of 3 because there's all these divisions. But he came all the way over here because he wanted to win that $2,500. Okay, it ain't about the money. It's called the Golden Driller. What it is, it's this trophy, and it's a little bitty trophy, but boy, it's nice, it's heavy. And if you win one of them, you a badass. Same as me when I go down to Volusia, win this little bitty old trophy. But it's good solid wood, and it's got an alligator on it. And if you win one of them, that means you a badass. Because when I go down there, you run 8 nights in a row, so that means there's only 8 of them for that year possible. So in other words, every time I go on the track, if I go on the track 8 times, 8 trophies for the whole year. They're very rare. Okay, now that I've explained all that, done my very best, Bell versus Larson. Oh my God, it did not disappoint. Okay, Christopher Bell starts front row outside. Now this is key right here. This is key. Christopher Bell starts front row outside. Okay, Han starts out H-A-H-N. I think that's Em and Han's boy. Respond right here because you know everything because you're an open wheel person. I know everything. Is that Em and Han's boy or a relative? He starts on the pole and he's a favorite because he's won a lot of races there. And he leads for 20-something lap and then he fades. I don't know what happened to him, right rear tire or whatever. But Christopher Bell gets by him and then Snyder's going to win it. But Snyder showed Kyle Larson, the line getting into one. Some crazy-ass line. He's going into one, going to climb the banking and come off of it. And just a daredevil line. Daredevil line. Well, they got Snyder. It blew his right rear tire out. So that's fine. That's fine to show everybody you're the best, but you're going to pay the price. When you run that high line, you're going to pay the price. Snyder paid the price. Now, he was the show, and I like him. I want to meet him. Congratulations, buddy. You a badass. But you blew the right rear tire out. Now, the difference was Kyle Larson said, okay, Snyder, you showed me the line, but I'm going to enter with my right front. That's why Kyle's so good. He goes in the corner, enters with the right front. Snyder was entering with the right rear. So Kyle goes in, enters with the right front, climbs it, gasses it, shoots across, and gains on Christopher Bell. And I mean, the crowd's on their feet. And here they come. Now listen, these are the two greatest NASCAR drivers of our era. It's Kyle Larson versus C. Bell. Did I tell you that Kyle Larson started 14th? Is that fair? Is that fair? I mean, it's Kyle Larson versus Christopher Bell. But Christopher Bell starts front row outside, and we got Kyle Larson back here in 14th. Is that fair? You know, it's luck of the draw for those qualifying races. Anyway, we don't even talk like that. I just want to let you know that. In dirt racing, it don't matter where you start. If you won, you won, because you can't control it. You can't control it, right? You could win all your stuff, but with all those cars there, you're going to start somewhere. So here comes Kyle Larson, and I mean, at the very end, it's a photo finish. Kyle Larson is underneath Christopher Bell coming to start-finish line. Now, here's the big deal. In victory lane, Christopher Bell says some things that are unbelievable, and so does Kyle Larson. The first one I want to tell you that was awesome was Kyle Larson says, I don't like running second to Christopher Bell. That's the rivalry we've all been looking for. It ain't that they hate each other. They both from the same type of motorsports. You know, they're both open wheel guys. And boy, they're both really talented. But Kyle Larson says, he just admits it. And we all love it. And everybody quotes it all over social media. Kyle Larson says, I don't like running second to Christopher Bell. Now let's go over here to Victor Lane. A lot of good stuff comes out of Christopher Bell. He says 4 words. Thank you, Joe Gibbs. Now, here's the backstory to that. Christopher Bell says, thank you, Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs said, I don't want my NASCAR drivers running dirt because you're going to hurt yourself. And it's going to destroy my, those cup cars are $20 million a year and all these employees. I can see Joe Gibbs' point. But you know what happens? I called him up. I called to Joe Gibbs. I'm not going to tell you who I told. I'm not going to tell you who I called at Joe Gibbs. But I called Joe Gibbs and I said, what made Coach Joe Gibbs change his mind? They said Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs said, come on, Grandpa. So I guess Joe Gibbs said, I'm tired of y'all beating my ass. And all right, go run your dirt cars. So that was the big deal. Coach Joe Gibbs takes a page right out of Rick Henry, playbook. And, we all know that Jeff Gordon says, hey, and now I'm talking about Hendrick now. I'm talking about Rick Henry now. Jeff Gordon says, Rick, just let Kyle Larson race. Let him be happy. So Kyle Larson been doing all this because they figure that's the best way to keep Kyle Larson happy. Let Kyle be Kyle. Don't try ruling him and go, this is the biggest motorsports. And, just let Kyle be Kyle and he's going to drive better. But go back to Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell says, first of all, nobody has ever seen Christopher Bell that happy. Finally, later, Christopher Bell says, I'm so happy because this is my car. I own it. He says the micro sprints are the largest growing type of division in open wheel. Does that upset some of you open wheel people? See, here's what I've learned about that. I've talked to Tony Stewart when he was up there practicing go-kart at Stefan Johansson's go-kart place up there in Indy. Tony Stewart takes every type of racing serious. Is the World of Outlaws sprint cars like the greatest division of all because they cost the most? A lot of these real racers, they don't care what they're racing. They just racing, and it's very serious to them. So Christopher Bell decides to spend his money on these micro midgets, sprints, whatever the hell you want to call them. Father-in-law's building them. Christopher Bell moves the father-in-law to North Carolina. So I think what we're looking at here, and the point that I want to make is that if you're a racer, you race. If you race in a damn go-kart, we're going to race. Now, I think it's fine and dandy that, the Cup Series, the World of Outlaws sprint cars, it's thought of as the most popular because it's the most money. But I'm going to end like this. There's a reason Kyle Larson flew from Australia over there in Perth Motorsports Complex to come over here to win $2,500 because these kids love racing. And I'm going to say this. They made the Tulsa Shootout better. I'm sorry. You think you're supposed to get rid of all the great drivers and don't let them. Hey, Emerson asked him. He won 3 or 4 of those Tulsa Shootouts. It's fine. And the man's growing up. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell made the Tulsa Shootout better. All right, everybody. From a snowy Arnold, Missouri. Have a great Sunday. This is the day that the Lord has made.